Horror movies are one of the most divided genres out there. People either avoid them like the plague or actively search for the scariest one on Netflix at midnight. There's rarely a middle ground. At first glance, loving horror movies seems strange. Why would anyone enjoy being scared, tense, or shocked on purpose? Why pay money to feel anxious for 2 hours? But psychology gives us some surprising answers. People who love horror movies aren't just thrill seekers or adrenaline junkies. Their brains, emotions, and coping styles work a little differently. In this video, we're breaking down what loving horror movies can reveal about personality, emotions, relationships, and mental strength. Not to label anyone, but to understand what's really going on beneath the screams. Let's start with the biggest misconception. People who love horror movies are not necessarily fearless. In fact, many of them feel fear very strongly. The difference is how they handle that fear. Instead of avoiding it, they choose to experience it in a controlled way. They're facing fear on their own terms. Horror movies offer safe danger. You're scared, but you know you're safe on your couch holding popcorn, maybe from AMC or a bucket of extra butter popcorn at home. The brain knows it's not real, even while the body reacts. People who love horror movies often enjoy this balance. They like feeling intense emotions without real-world consequences. It gives them a sense of control. Another key trait is emotional curiosity. Horror fans tend to be interested in the darker side of human emotions. They don't pretend fear, sadness, or anger don't exist. They're often the kind of people who ask deep questions. Why do people snap? What happens under pressure? What are humans capable of when pushed? Horror movies explore those questions in extreme ways. They turn emotional tension into a story you can watch, pause, and reflect on. People who love horror movies also tend to have higher emotional tolerance. They can sit with discomfort longer than most. They don't rush to shut it down. While others might turn off a movie at the first jump scare, horror fans lean in. They breathe through the tension instead of escaping it. This trait often shows up in real life too. These people may handle stress better during chaos. They stay calm when things get intense. Another surprising point is imagination. Horror lovers often have vivid mental images. Their brains create strong mental images, which actually makes horror more powerful. You'd think that would make them avoid scary content, but instead, they enjoy exploring those mental worlds. It's like taking their imagination for a dark-themed test drive. That same imagination often fuels creativity. Many horror fans are writers, artists, gamers, or deep thinkers. They enjoy exploring what-if scenarios. People who love horror movies are also often emotionally self-aware. They know they're scared, excited, or overwhelmed, and they don't deny it. Watching horror becomes a way to practice emotional regulation. They feel fear rise, peak, and fall, all within a couple of hours. That cycle teaches the brain something important. Fear doesn't last forever. Even the scariest moments pass. Another key trait is sensation-seeking, but not in the reckless way people assume. Horror fans often crave intensity, not danger. They like strong emotional experiences. A calm romantic comedy might feel boring, while a tense horror film keeps them engaged. This doesn't mean they're chaotic in real life. Many are actually very grounded and structured. Horror becomes their outlet for intensity. People who love horror movies often enjoy being mentally challenged. Good horror isn't just scares, it's suspense, mystery, and psychology. Movies like psychological thrillers force the brain to stay alert. You're predicting, analyzing, and trying to understand what's happening. That mental engagement feels rewarding. It's like solving a puzzle, but with your emotions involved. There's also a social side to horror. Many people bond over watching scary movies together. It creates shared vulnerability. Think about watching a horror movie on a date or with friends. Hearts race, people laugh nervously, someone grabs someone's arm. That shared fear can create closeness. Horror fans often enjoy that emotional connection, even if they don't talk about it. People who love horror movies also tend to have strong coping skills. They know how to calm themselves down after being scared. They might joke, laugh, or analyze the movie afterward. This ability to return to baseline is a sign of emotional resilience. In real life, this often means they recover from stress faster. They may feel things deeply, but they don't stay stuck for long.
Another interesting detail is control. Horror movies allow viewers to choose when to engage and when to stop. You can pause the movie, lower the volume, or look away. That sense of choice makes fear feel manageable. People who love horror often appreciate this control. It's the opposite of real-life stress, which often feels unpredictable. Many horror fans also enjoy understanding human behavior. They're fascinated by what people do under pressure. Why does one character run while another freezes? Why do people ignore warning signs? Horror exaggerates these patterns, making them easier to see. That curiosity often extends to real relationships. Horror fans may be good at reading emotional shifts and unspoken tension. People who love horror movies are often comfortable with complexity. They don't need everything to be clean, happy, or resolved. They understand that life includes dark moments. Horror reflects that reality in a dramatic way. This doesn't mean they're pessimistic. In fact, many horror fans are surprisingly optimistic. Facing darkness makes light feel more meaningful. Another trait is humor. Many people who love horror have a dark sense of humor. They laugh at tension to release it. You'll often hear horror fans joking right after a scary scene. That humor helps regulate emotions and bring balance. It's not cruelty, it's coping. Laughter is a pressure valve. People who love horror movies also tend to enjoy novelty. They like new experiences, even uncomfortable ones. They're often open-minded. They don't shut down ideas just because they're unsettling. This openness can make them good listeners. They're less likely to judge emotional honesty, even when it's messy. There's also a connection to childhood experiences. Some horror fans grew up watching scary movies early, often with family. That early exposure taught their nervous system how to process fear. Over time, it became familiar instead of overwhelming. For others, horror became a way to face fears they couldn't control in real life. Watching fear instead of living it can feel empowering. People who love horror movies often enjoy emotional contrast. After fear, relief feels stronger. That's why horror fans often follow a scary movie with comfort food. Pizza, ice cream, or a late-night McDonald's run hits differently after adrenaline. The emotional drop makes simple pleasures feel better. Another overlooked point is empathy. Many horror fans deeply empathize with characters. They imagine what they'd feel in that situation. That empathy can make them emotionally intelligent in real life. They understand fear, panic, and vulnerability. Even when characters make bad choices, horror fans often try to understand why, not just judge them. People who love horror movies are also often introspective. They think about their reactions afterward. Why did that scene scare me? Why did that moment bother me more than others? That self-reflection builds emotional awareness over time. Here's the most surprising truth. People who love horror movies are often emotionally resilient because they practice fear instead of avoiding it. They don't pretend fear doesn't exist. They step into it, feel it fully, and come out the other side safe. That practice builds emotional strength. It teaches the brain that intense feelings are survivable, temporary, and manageable. Horror isn't about loving fear, it's about mastering it. So let's wrap this up. People who love horror movies are often emotionally curious, resilient, imaginative, and comfortable with intensity. They face fear for fun, but that skill carries into real life. Horror fans aren't strange or broken. They're often people who understand that darkness exists and aren't afraid to look at it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you love horror movies or can't stand them? And if you love them, what do you think draws you in? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this video helped you understand human behavior a little bit better, hit like, subscribe, and stay curious. There's always more beneath the surface.